Today we're going to have some fried pork chops. We're going to have some purple hull peas. You can use any kind of peas you like. Around here in Texas, we like those purple hull peas. And I'm going to make some corn on the cob. We'll end up with the fried pork chops and the gravy and a little bit of rice. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the purple hull peas. I'm using the frozen peas. Perfect. They're defrosted now. I'm going to put them in my Dutch oven. And I want a little bit of salt pork. So I'm just going to cut off a piece. These are uncooked salt pork. That's perfect. Now, that's all I want in my peas. I could put an onion, but I've never heard of that before. So I'm going to cover these with water and cook them on low. I'll add the salt when I see how much is left that I'll need. So I don't want to cook the corn until it's time to serve, and these peas need a good while to cook. So I'm going to wait on my pork chops for about another 30 minutes at least to an hour, and I'll see how the peas are going. So I'll see you back. Yeah. So my peas are getting close to being done, so I'm going to start frying my pork chops. What I have here is about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of coarse ground pepper. That's how I like the breading on my pork chops. So I'm going to get my electric skillet going, and I want to heat it to 350. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it to 350. What I need is about a 1/4 inch of oil, and about a cup of shortening. All right, perfect. So if you mix the two, you'll get a nice crispy crust. All right, gotta wash my hands. All right. So I have another dish here. I want to put just a little bit of buttermilk in. I don't want to soak the pork chops, but I want to moisten them so that the flour will adhere. And I want to wait until my oil is heating up. So this is my favorite meal. When I go home, if Mother asks me what I want her to cook, it's always fried pork chops. They They are the best. Okay, so my grease is hot. The way I can test that, just dropping a little flour in there, and it needs to be bubbling. But what I'm going to do is dip each pork chop in just a little bit of buttermilk. Buttermilk works well because it kind of sticks to it real well. Now, I need to dip it in the flour mixture. Looks delicious. This electric skillet is wonderful. I use it all the time if I have to cook for a whole family. I get in here and I can cook most of these at one time. Now, this is going to be really delicious. I think I'm going to freeze 2 of these pork chops because they're very large. And there's a lot of them. This is perfect. One more. And that's all I need. Now I'm going to save my flour mixture to make my gravy. But I can do away with my buttermilk dish now. This is perfect. Just make sure it's coated well with the flour. Perfect. All right, need to wash my hands. It smells so good, I wish you could smell it. Smells like my childhood. I don't cook this way very often anymore. I try to make healthier food, but every once in a while I need some fried pork chops. So, it doesn't hurt. Every once in a while. Now what I'm going to do is I have my skillet set at 350 so I can brown on the one side, and then once it's brown and crispy on that side, I'm going to flip it, turn it down, and cover it. So I'll come back. Okay, so it's nice and brown and crispy on one side. I'm going to flip. I only flip twice. I flip once. Then I'm going to turn it down to 200 so that they'll cook through. For about 15 minutes. I'll turn it to 225. Cover it. And now I'm going to cook it for about 15 minutes and check it at that point. Okay. Okay, so I want to cook, I've got my rice in the microwave, and I want to cook some corn on the cob. So I filled it up with about 3 or 4 inches of water because I'm only going to cook two cobs. I want to put a couple of teaspoons of salt, and I want to bring the water to a boil before I put the corn in. Alright, so after it comes to a boil, I'll show you what to do. Okay, so I've turned my temperature up on my pork chops to 300. So I'm going to let them cook a little bit longer on the higher temperature before I uncover and flip them again. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes and I've uncovered my pork chops and turned it up to 300. So I want to let them brown on this side. I'm just kind of loosening them up a little so they're not sticking. I want them to brown on this side and get crispy, and then I'll flip them one more time. So I'm going to give them about 3 or 4 minutes. So my rice is cooking in the microwave. It's got me confused. My water is boiling for my corn, so let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop the 2 ears of corn in here in the salted water. I'm going to cover and let them come to a boil. They're at a boil, so I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. So I want them to boil for 5 minutes and then I'll turn the heat on. So I'm going to turn these up to 350 now. These are beautiful pork chops. Just make sure they're not sticking. You don't want to lose your breading. I'll be back. Okay, I think that my pork chops are nice and crispy and brown on that side. So I'm going to flip them all over. That breading looks wonderful. You're not going to get the same pork chops if you don't use the shortening. That just helps them to crisp up better than just the oil does. So it's almost time to cook the gravy. I'm going to let these continue to crisp up on that side, and then I'll take them out. They're done. Want to get paper towels. Some paper towels that won't make our gravy. Now we're going to have too much oil. We're going to have to drain some of it out, but you want to be sure and keep all those crispy pieces in the pan to make your gravy. Now rice is done. It can just stay in the microwave to keep it warm. My timer is going for my corn. It's at 1:35. So we just have to wait, and then we'll take these pork chops out. Okay, so I'm going to take my pork chops out. They look lovely. They're nice and brown on every side, and you don't want to cook them until they get tough. Now, my brown parts I want to cook I've turned my corn on. I put my peas on low. All right. Just going to take some of this grease out. You don't want to get your crispy pieces. This skillet is too large to pick it up and try to pour out the grease. You can always get a turkey baster if you have too much to scoop out. This is going to be good, y'all. Alright, I think that's enough. I have just a little bit of grease left in the bottom. I have all those crispy pieces. So now it's time to add my flour mixture that I saved. And I want to make sure I have enough to thicken it and flavor it. Got that wonderful salt and pepper and garlic powder. This is looking good. Need a little more flour. All right. That's perfect. Now, what I have to do is let all that flour brown in there. Let those crispy pieces get much crispier. And then I'll add water, not milk. For my brown gravy, when I use drippings, I always use water. Do not care for the taste. By using milk, that's for a cream sauce. That's perfect. Little crispy pieces. My vegetables and my rice are ready. Just got to get this gravy cooking. Just got to be patient with it. My heat's on 350. Got to brown that flour. That takes at least 5 minutes, if not longer. And this is the secret to your success. You cannot rush this part. I'll go ahead and get my water. We're going to end up needing about 4 cups of water. But I'll start slow. It's starting to brown. My flour is nice and brown, so it's time to add some water. I know I'll need at least 2 cups, so I'll start with that. It's getting a little thick. I'm going to add another, almost a cup. You don't want it too watery because you lose your pretty brown gravy. And I'm going to turn it off now because it's getting thick and it will continue to thicken after you turn it off, as long as you didn't put too much water. So I ended up with almost 3 cups of water. That's almost thick enough. And turn it back on. Thicken it some more. This is beautiful gravy. Okay, y'all. This plate looks wonderful. I have part of a pork chop, I have my rice and gravy, my purple hull peas, and my corn. Everything's cooked just perfectly. So give it a shot. If you want a good Southern meal, this is the one. I'll see y'all next time.